Luka Doncic, a player that, from the moment he arrived in the NBA, has stood out above the rest. His step backs, fantastic passes, and explosive stat lines have impressed fans all around the world, and his name has gone up in the ranks every year he's been in the NBA. Today, we're going to take a deeper look into his career and talk about why we believe he's better than people think.
Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Rebound box. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Here's a Curry. Way downtown. Bang! Bang!
James, a shot of history.
When Luka entered the 2018 NBA draft, there were plenty of doubters. Some questioned whether his game will translate to the NBA, despite his impressive performances in the EuroLeague. However, it didn't take long for Luka to silence the critics and prove that he was the real deal. From his very first season, Luka demonstrated level of understanding of the game that was well beyond his years. He had one of the best rookie seasons ever, as he averaged 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, which earned him Rookie of the Year.
He immediately put his name into the conversation of best rookies ever, as he was able to control the game with his court vision, ability to score from anywhere, and his willingness to step up in crucial moments. A game that stood out against the rest was a game against the Houston Rockets, including 3 back-to-back three-pointers.
Luka with the step-back three. Oh, yeah!
The following season, Luka made the quick jump from rookie sensation to franchise superstar. He not only became an All-Star, but also tied the record for the youngest player to make it to All-NBA first team by elevating his numbers to an astonishing 28.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game. He also recorded 8 triple-doubles, which is the 5th most that season, and it seemed like every other game he was making a jaw-dropping shot or pass.
Luka's performances on the court were not just about individual achievements. He also led the Dallas Mavericks to the 2020 playoffs, where he faced a team that many had as their championship favorites, the Los Angeles Clippers. Facing off against 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, Luka went off.
He kicked off his playoff career with 42 points, and then followed that up a couple games later with a 43-point triple-double performance that included a game-winning buzzer beater.
Pulls up three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
The Mavericks ended up losing in 6, but pushing it to 6 was already an accomplishment of itself. He showed that he had what it took to shine on the biggest stage and gave us a glimpse of his potential as one of the greats of the game.
The following season was more of the same. Another All-Star appearance, a second All-NBA first-team selection, and another loss to the Clippers in the first round. This one hurt extra due to the fact that the Mavericks actually had a 3-2 lead and Luka scored 46 in Game 7, the record for most points in a Game 7 at that time. At this point, there were no questions about Luka's ability. Now it was just up to the Mavs to surround him with the right pieces. And the way they attempted to do this was by controversially trading Kristaps Porzingis in February of the 2022 season.
Porzingis up to that point had been the best player Luka had played with. And when the Mavs first acquired him, many believed that he was going to be Luka's right-hand man for years to come. But injuries and ego problems never allowed that to happen. The trade itself had fans scratching their heads as the return seemed small. Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans did not seem like the biggest game changers. Things looked especially grim towards the end of the season, when Luka suffered an injury right before the playoffs, and as the Mavs headed into a first-round matchup versus the Jazz, everybody was ready to throw in the towel, except one man.
Jalen Brunson, who was drafted alongside Luka in the 2018 NBA draft, tapped into a level that we didn't know he had. That man averaged 32 points per game in the first 3 games without Luka, and more importantly, helped the Mavs gain a 2-1 lead. Luka came back in Game 4 and eventually took out the Jazz in 6 games, which was the last time we saw Gobert and Mitchell together.
Then came the real test, the 64-18 Phoenix Suns, who were coming off a finals berth and were hungry to make it back. Everybody expected the Suns to win that series. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. All 20 ESPN NBA writers at the time picked the Suns to win. Everybody just thought that the match between the Jazz was just the Jazz choking once again, and didn't realize that something special was brewing.
The series between the Mavericks and the Suns was one of the most entertaining series of the past 5 years. Elite bucket getting, amazing team basketball, but most of all, non-stop trash talk. Luka and Devin Booker, 2 of the best young players, were going at it the whole series. Booker made comments about Luka's constant whining for foul calls, while Luka said the infamous line, and then proceeded to absolutely humiliate them in Game 7.
and it needs to be stressed how bad the defeat was. The game was over in the first half. To put it into context, Luka scored 30 points in the first half by himself, and so did the entire Suns roster. Luka's dominance had finally led to some real winning, and he was on his way to the conference finals, something that Embiid has never done.
Sadly, he faced the eventual champions, Golden State Warriors, which took quick care of them in only 5 games. Still, it was a very successful season for Luka and the Mavs, and things were looking up for them until the offseason came. And then they lost Jalen Brunson to New York.
The Knicks went all in on Brunson, gave him a very large contract, and at the time, it seemed like an overpay. But as you know now, Brunson earned every single penny and more. Luka went into a new season with a clear second option, and it was noticed throughout the season as being the only ball handler was taking a toll on him. Regardless of the struggles, the Mavericks had a record of 29-25, and were one of the top 6 seeds in the West, which is impressive considering how competitive the West had been all year.
The Mavs front office decided to give Luka a co-star in the form of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie wanted out of Brooklyn and requested a trade late in January. Everyone was speculating that he would go to the Lakers, but the Mavs swooped in and out of nowhere decided to take the risk. Fans were stunned by the trade, and the opinion of it was split down the middle. Some believe that trading Dinwiddie, and especially Dorian Finney-Smith, led the Mavs with little depth and zero defense, while others thought that the combination of Luka and Kyrie was going to be so lethal that it wouldn't matter.
Well, the ones that believed the first idea ended up being right. The Mavs crumbled towards the end of the season, and as the losses started to pile up, they saw their playoff hopes diminish more and more, and they ended up not even making the play-in. The team's defense was horrible. Luka and Kyrie didn't match right away. That, along with comments made by Luka about how he was just not enjoying playing basketball as much due to a lot of personal problems. It was shocking to see Mavs self-implode like this, and this marked the first season of Luka's career that could be considered a disappointment. With all of that being said, the main reason that we wanted to make this video is because it feels like with Luka not making the playoffs this year, the public has forgotten about him a bit. With so much praise going to Jokic after winning the finals, deservedly so, and how much the media loves to talk about players like Tatum, Giannis, and Embiid, we just wanted to put into perspective how much Luka has accomplished in just 5 seasons. Luka has a Rookie of the Year, 4 All-Star appearances, 4 All-NBA first-team selections, which to put into perspective, is more than players like Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul Pierce, and he has a conference finals berth. There are a lot of fair criticisms that can be thrown his way, such as his basketball shape, him being a bit too ball dominant, and a lack of leadership at times.
We must remember that he's only 24 years old, and he has never had the team around him that players like Giannis, Jokic, and Tatum have. You can't convince me that Luka isn't capable of winning multiple championships with the right team around him. The question is whether Dallas will be able to provide him with that team.
As things stand now, Luka heads into a new season with Kyrie still by his side, looking to redeem himself from the disaster that was last year. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like.
Let us know your thoughts about Luka's career thus far in the comments, and subscribe for more basketball content like this coming soon and in the future. Thank you and peace.
Peace out, Luka!